In the wake of the tragedy in Parkland, some local students are reflecting on the world they're growing up in and what they can do about it. They were born after the shooting at Columbine High. They heard about Sandy Hook in middle school, and now they're dealing with this week's shooting as they prepare to graduate. Channel 2's Lori Wilson sat down with a panel of 17 and 8-year-olds to get a unique perspective. Lori?
Yeah, Jovita, we sat down with the students at the Galloway School in Atlanta. They're all seniors, all born after the 1999 Columbine shooting. They've only known a world where shootings at schools could happen anywhere, anytime.
As a high school student, it was terrifying, but it wasn't surprising, because it's one of the norms that are present in our generation today.
6 students in their senior year who should be thinking about summer plans, graduation, the future, now having to think about mortality and the fear and violence that took place in a Florida high school this week.
You feel people, you may not know them, but they're kids just like you.
This can happen anywhere, anytime, at concerts, at schools, at sporting events. This kind of pattern makes you think that, like, we can all be victims at any time, and like, what is really there to protect us.
They found out 17 people were shot and killed at Marjorie Stoneman School through social media.
It pops up as a notification on my home screen on my phone after practice, and along with a bunch of other messages, which in itself is very heartbreaking that it can be lost in a wave of social media.
But Thursday, they stopped to process what happened.
Although I feel safe at school, I know that it could happen anytime at any school.
A school should not need a gun. Like, it should be a safe, protected place.
It's honestly scary to be living in a world like this where things like this can just keep happening, yet nothing is changing.
This group says change can happen person to person and in the political arena.
It's about prioritizing lives over hobbies.
I think we're so quick to blame government officials and policy changers, and sometimes it's us to blame. Sometimes we can have compassion for others because we don't know what they're going through in that day.
We're not doing what is necessary to address the problem that we have at hand.
What do we do about it?
There was talk of arming teachers as one of the ways to prevent school shootings, to defend children, and I feel we haven't really made much progress since that discussion, which wasn't a very good starting point to begin with.
No one wants this to happen. Neither side of the aisle is saying, like, this is, like, everyone's trying to prevent it.
That policy decision is going to be made in D.C., away from all these schools who are experiencing these shootings.
If a lot of people are passionate and show compassion, like Jaden said, there are going to be people working to change this. And as long as there are people who are trying to make a difference, I think we'll see results.
We have to fix the mistakes, I'm sorry, that the older generations made in their past time. Either we start doing it now, or we're going to have our sons and daughters have to deal with these mistakes, and that's not something I plan on letting happening.
So a really thoughtful group of young people. Pretty incredible to hear what they had to say, because they grew up in a time so different, of course, than the experience we had years ago.
How many of them said they were registered to vote? Did they say?
Well, most of them were 17.
Right.
So
the
a couple that are 18,
are they ready?
They're getting ready. Yes,
Okay.
they are getting ready, and
All
they feel empowered.
We'll see what they do.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lori.